All right. So as we're coming into this space together, find a comfortable position and just breathe. If you're comfortable, close your eyes. Take in a big inhale, filling the lungs, and hold and exhale, releasing all of the air. We're going to do that 2 more times. Breathing in, hold, and release. And this last time, really allow your body to feel relaxed on the exhale. As we come into this space together, we create a sacred space where every part of us is welcome. All the pieces that we push away, that we deny in ourselves, every piece of ourself is welcome here in this space. It is an honor for all of us to be together. And I have deep gratitude for this time together. Where we're putting our attention and focus on something much greater than ourselves as individuals. This idea that we can cultivate in ourselves more awareness of who we are. And in so doing, we free ourselves from the restrictions, from the shackles that bind us to false beliefs. And we bring that liberated self back out into the world. Just in our being, others find permission, acceptance, and even this idea of support in becoming who they truly are as well. As we are here supported by whatever it is we're on, whether it's a chair or if we're lying in bed, let's take a moment and just feel that support where it's touching our bodies. That sensation of being held. That firm solidity of support. We can use that to ground ourselves in a dignified posture that is both relaxed and focused. Now, if you are able to maybe move the neck from side to side, kind of releasing any remaining tension that's still there. And take one last inhale and exhale. And when you're ready, please open your eyes. So one thing I wanted to mention is that at the end of the last class, you should have gotten an email that had a little handout to go over the kind of salient points. I think the most thing, the definitions of mindfulness and mindfulness meditation is in that. And there's also a link to a guided meditation that is a loving kindness or a metta practice. I think it's about 17 minutes long, and it's on Insight Timer, but that's a direct link to it. So if you need help to try to practice during the week, and that's something that you want to do, you by no means have to do that. But if it's something that you're interested in, that link will take you to the guided meditation that I just described. And if you would prefer, you can look through Insight Timer there's thousands of different guided meditations and lots of different teachers, and they're all good.
Oh, they are good.
They are good. They're
excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, all of the meditations that are on there have been listened to and approved before being published. So you can rest assured it's not like just going on YouTube and picking something.
Jesus pros.
Yeah, it's all professional people. So yeah, so it's good. So if nobody else has anything that they want to share, we can start talking about mindfulness of the body and breath. After the talk, my expectation is that I will have shared enough with you that you'll be able to recall common ways to sense and establish a connection with the breath and with the body, different parts of the body, ways to use the body and the breath to anchor your meditation, your mindfulness meditation practice. And I am going to go over to help everyone understand why it's essential to be awake in the body. And this is just a little cartoon that was shared with me, and I thought it was funny. And it's a dad and his kids with their mom on the camel behind them, and they're crossing the Sahara Desert. And the kids are like, "Are we almost there?" And the dad's like, "Stop asking me that. We're nomads, for crying out loud." Like, this is what we do. We travel. We're not going anywhere in particular. And that's a good segue into why we do mindfulness meditation, using the breath and using our body as an anchor. Because when we don't do these things, we're constantly planning, we're trying to be somewhere that's not here. It's not in the now, in the present moment. The breath is our universal anchor for most people. And the reason for that is because it's always with us. We can't go anywhere without it. If we stop breathing, well, we stop living. So it's with us. But as a meditation practice, when we take our awareness and focus our concentration on the breath, sometimes it doesn't really work for us. For example, some people, when they try to put their awareness on the breath, like feeling the sensation of the air moving through the nostrils, or the coolness or the warmth on the upper lip, for some people, they just can't sense that. It's too subtle. So we have to work up to that. So instead, we'll try an exercise where we take our hands and maybe just put them on our belly and feel the rise and the fall of the belly as we breathe. That works really well for a lot of people. But there's another set of meditators who just can't touch the breath because of trauma. So we want to be very careful when we're practicing that if we start to feel like very anxious or fearful, then that's a signal that there could be trauma that's going on here, and the breath is not a good anchor for us. And in those situations, we can explore using some other techniques that we're going to talk about tonight to see if it's workable. The trauma, how you can tell if it's something that we can work with the meditation, is when you are feeling an unpleasant experience, instead of just stopping right away, just ask yourself, can I allow this sensation or these feelings or these thoughts or these images, whatever is going on for you, can I allow it to be here? Can I just sit with this for a moment? If the answer is yes, then you can continue to work on meditation practice. If the answer is no, and you'll know it's a no because you'll be climbing out of your skin and want to get up and want movement and to get out of what you're doing, then it would be recommended to seek a professional to work through whatever it is that you're struggling with there. It can still be helpful after you've sat with the sensations for a little while to get up, maybe try a walking meditation where you're just kind of walking around wherever you are, and barefoot is the best, I'd say, and you want to really walk slowly and allow every sensation that your foot is feeling as you press down on the floor or the ground, depending whether you're inside or outside. Really feel every single part of the foot as it touches the surface. And then do that for a few minutes. You may find that you want to keep doing it. And when we put our focused attention on whatever it is that we're doing, the mind, the chatter, that monkey mind naturally recedes. But then all it takes is, for example, if it's the breath, when we do the inhale and then exhale, that turn where we're going from the inhale to the exhale and back again, that turn is this weird, funky place where that monkey mind says, "Oh, I see an opening, I'm coming to get you," and it will come right back in with thoughts. And it may be that in a 15-minute sit, you find that you have had to redirect your attention back to the breath or a bodily sensation 50, 60, 100 or more times. That's totally fine. That is totally fine. Every time that you notice that you have moved your attention off of your anchor, whatever that anchor is, whether it's the breath or a bodily sensation, that noticing is where the magic happens. It's in that noticing and taking action to focus your attention back onto the anchor. That's what trains your brain to respond instead of react to life in general. So there's lots of anchors that we can use for the body. I just talked about a walking meditation where we're using the feet, but also in a walking meditation, we can use the sounds of birds, say, for example, if we're outside. You can allow all of the sounds, or you can focus on just one sound. One exercise that I used to enjoy, I should say, was listening to the sound of silence, because something really magical kind of happens when you listen to the sound of silence. And what you're listening for is, what's the next sound that's going to come into my awareness? And so you're so focused in listening that what ends up happening if your environment is very quiet is that you start to hear the sound of the energy that you normally is not audible to you. It's always there, but your brain naturally tunes it out. I caution doing that because I have learned from my own experience that that brings on a condition called tinnitus, which is like a ringing in the ears or a sound of whooshing in the ears. The good news is it does not require medical intervention if brought on in this way. All that's required to make it stop is just taking your attention away from it. So when you hear it come in, just say, nope, I'm not going to pay attention to you, and it will naturally recede. Seeing some other anchors that we use with the body in addition to sound, there's taste. So any sensory perception, whether it's sight, is challenging because there's so much stimulation. But if you use something like the fire of a candle, that can be very useful. And our hearing we've talked about, and touching, in addition to like feeling supported by whatever you're sitting, standing, or lying on, you can choose touch points in the body. So if you know, for example, that the breath is difficult for you to feel, you can choose to put all of your attention on some part of your body that as you're breathing, you just notice has some tension or some sensation already, and start with that, because the fact that there is already a sensation that you're perceiving is kind of like your open door. And then once you put your attention on that part of the body, you can stay there for about a minute or two and then choose another location. And there's no right or wrong to that. It's all your choice. Another way that is just a bit more structured than doing touch points is what's called a body scan. So when we do our guided meditation in a little bit, I'm going to take you through a body scan. Again, all of these things are very flexible, but we generally start from the top and work the way down, but you can go the other way. It's totally up to you. All are fine. So one of the things that's important to know about is that we are often not in our bodies, believe it or not. And when I say that, I'm talking about from our awareness, our perspective of awareness. We're often lost in thought, right? And we discussed that a little bit already. But it's really important to be in our bodies, to be awake in our bodies, so that we can experience reality, life as it's actually happening, instead of the made up virtual reality world that we're thinking of. And we tend to leave our bodies when things are difficult. And we also tend to leave our bodies when things are great. When life feels just even Steven, it's called equanimity. When everything is just, it's not good, it's not bad, it's just is. It's like this peaceful, even state. Then we're in our bodies. Then we are here now in the present moment. That does not take up most of our day, however, for most of us. A lot of our day, we are just thinking, and we're getting distracted, and we're worrying, and we're planning, and we're working on, we finished one project and now we're planning the next one, or whatever it is. The mind is running the show. The monkey mind, that is, not the scientific mind, not the one that does math calculations, this more of the survival egoic mind. So when things are really great, we don't want to let them go. We like to hold on to them. And that takes us away from the present, because we're so excited, or we're just clinging to something that we like. Maybe it's the taste of ice cream. Who knows? There's lots of things that we cling to. And when things are unpleasant, we push away from the present moment. We literally pop out of our bodies. We just shut down. And that is a problem, because it's probably one of the reasons that so many people are exhausted all the time. Because a lot of this comes from conditioning and trauma that have happened in our early life. And so it's a metaphor for this is this idea of, like, if you think of a house, and in one room of the house, there's this child who's crying and it's driving you crazy, and you try to tend to it, but it doesn't help. And so you don't know what to do. And so what do? You go do your work in another room, but they're still crying and you can still hear them. And it's starting to really get on your nerves and bug you, and you can't concentrate on what it is that you're trying to do. So what do? You put in earplugs, and you go even further away from them. And now you've got this guilt because you can't help the child, and also you've pushed away from the child. And that's what we do to ourselves when we leave our bodies, because things are difficult and we try to push it away. So we create this body-mind split where we know that there is something that needs to be attended to, but we don't know how. So what we're trying to do here is attend to that part of us that needs holding, that needs to be attended to, so that we can present ourselves in the world as whole and awake as we possibly can. So the bottom line is that our bodily experience is like totally out of control. But to inhabit the body means that we really surrender to what feels out of control. So I don't mean we just allow it to be, but we sit with it and we ask ourselves, can I be with this? Can this feeling, like, I know for me personally, I tend to feel stress and it will make me feel contracted in my chest. And if you don't know what that means, like, some people feel it as like a tightening in the chest. You know, we've all been there. We all know what it feels like to feel really overwhelmed. So what we can do when that happens is just take a pause, breathe, deep breath in, a deep breath out, and ask ourselves, can we be here for this? Can we hold this feeling, whether it's an emotion or if it may even be physical pain? Can we just allow it to be here just for a moment, just this moment, and breathe? Okay, you feel it to kind of getting lighter, and then you say, all right, can I let it be here for another moment? And breathe. And then we can do some investigating. We'll talk about that more in one of the other weeks. So Joseph Campbell created this circle of awareness. And when I talk about whether we're awake in the body or we're not being awake in the body can also be called being in trance, being in a trance state. So in this circle, it's divided into, the top portion is the things that we are aware of, like all of the sensory perceptions. I'm aware of the room that I'm in, the sounds that I'm hearing, the things that I'm feeling, the tastes and the smells. These are real. I am aware of them. The things I'm not aware of that are below this line, and you'll notice that it's not divided in half. It's divided where the things I'm aware of is much smaller than the things that I'm not aware of. And that's how we get caught up in this dissociated state, this state of trance, because there is so much more that we're not aware of that is affecting us than what we're actually aware of. So some of the things that we're not aware of are this like hidden world of fears, that there could be many of individual fears that stem from things that happened way far back in the past. So they're not part of our conscious awareness, but more part of the subconscious mind. And our aversions, our conditioning from our parents and school and social media, the media, all the shows and movies and friends and anyone we've ever had any contact with ever in our lifetimes. It even goes back generations. There's generational conditioning. So, and all of the other things that we're not aware of that make up this virtual reality of thoughts and emotionally charged stories. When I think of emotionally charged stories, we do that all the time, don't we? We want to be right. That's like part of our conditioning, is we have to be right. We have to be the one that is right. But who is it that wants to be right? You know? All right, so I'm going to begin our body scan, and I'm going to end it with the sound of the bell. And then we will go from the sound of the Himalayan bowl to the sensations in our head, and we'll work our way down the body. And then we'll end the practice again, focusing on the sound of the bowl. So when you're ready, find a comfortable position. And take a few breaths. And we'll begin. Bringing your awareness to the top of your head, to your scalp. Are there any sensations that you are experiencing? And if you can't find one, you may shift your attention to your face, maybe the eyes, the mouth. Try putting your mouth into a half smile and notice how that changes your inner experience. When you add that half smile to your face, do you sense an opening in your heart? A feeling of being more available to tenderness, to compassion, joy, peace, and love. A smile is so powerful. Moving down the body, let's put our awareness on the neck. Is there any tightness? And if so, see if you can release it the next time you exhale. Allow your next breath to release more deeply into that relaxed awareness. Let's move down the neck now to the shoulders. Starting with the right shoulder. If you find the shoulders a difficult place to find sensations, you can try taking the opposite hand and using 1 or 2 or 3 of your fingers to tap the shoulder. And tap slowly and deeply to connect with the sensation of the two coming together, that pressure. And then when you remove your hand, concentrate the awareness on the shoulder. How long can you still sense a sensation? Does it leave quickly? Does it linger? Maybe you want to try it on the other side, bringing your fingers over, just adding pressure to the shoulder. So there's a sensory perception in the shoulder. And then release. As we do this body scan, thoughts, images, maybe even feelings or emotions are going to come into your awareness, and that's fine. Just let them come in and leave, just noticing that they've arrived and watching them as they go, like waves of the ocean, just coming and going. No need to engage them. If you catch yourself lingering on any thought, emotion, feeling, not physical feeling, but mind created feeling, images, just shift your awareness back to the body part that you're focusing on, in this case, the shoulder. By now, you may not be feeling any more sensation in the shoulder unless you're very attuned to sensations in your body. So let's work down to the elbow. Can you feel either of your elbows? It takes a lot of focused attention to feel your elbows if they're not resting on something. In a day-long retreat, we could probably spend half an hour just on one elbow alone. It's a difficult point to feel. Let's move back up the arm and down the spine. And notice any sensations in the back, muscles, vertebrae. Whatever you want to focus on is totally fine. Let's continue to move down, and we're going to move all the way down to the feet. Though there's plenty of our bodies between our back and our feet are often more receptive to sensation, easier to find the sensory experience in the feet. So let's go there now. We're just experiencing what the feet are sensing. To help bring this more into your awareness, you can inwardly say what they're experiencing. Maybe it's tingling, coolness, a feeling of vibration. Pressure. Now we're going to move our awareness back up the body, down the arms, and into the hands. The hands, the face, and the feet are the gateways for most people in feeling the sensory experience that is happening in the body. The temperature in the room impacts it. The openness of our hearts, our willingness to be with whatever is happening here and now. These things all play a role in our ability to sense the vibration in our hands, in our feet, in our face, and the rest of the body. Our body is always with us, just like the breath. So when we want to find that place of peace, that equanimity, where we're not holding on to pleasures and we're not pushing away discomfort, we can come here, right here, to the body, to the hands, to the feet, to the head, asking, what am I sensing? When we are in experiences of discomfort, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, we can try to come here and ask ourselves, can I be with this? Can I allow this that I'm experiencing to just be here for now? And every time we take the time when we're struggling to sit, to practice being mindful of our breath or our body, which really they both are part of the body, in this loving awareness without judgment, holding space for whatever is here with a care and attention. Doing this practice helps us heal from the mistaken beliefs that do not serve our well-being, the micro traumas of our lives that still haunt us in the background can be faced in this loving space. Just asking, what am I feeling? What am I sensing? What's here? What's showing up for me right now? And can I hold this? Can I be with it and just allow it to be here? And it will shift and it will move and change, because that's the nature of life. It's impermanent. It comes and it goes like the waves of the ocean. In a moment, I'm going to ring the bell again to move our awareness back to sound. And then as the sound dissipates, you can open your eyes and come back into the group. Okay. So there's a lot to talk about with the mindfulness of body and breath. We've really just scratched the surface tonight, but I hope that it was enough to perk your interest, to feel relevant. Invite anyone who has a question to pose their question. And if you don't have a question, but you have a general comment or something you'd like to share, you're welcome to share your experience of either the teaching or this meditation. I invite that. Please try to stick, if you can, as best as you can, to our agreements for multicultural interactions. I'll briefly go through them again real quick. Try it on. Practice self-focus. Understand the difference between intent and impact. Practice both and. Refrain from blaming or shaming yourself or others. Move up, move back. Practice mindful listening, confidentiality, and right to pass. With that, I welcome any questions. Okay, with this first question, see if I get this right. Okay, this first question refers to posture. And the question, I think, is speaking explicitly to the practice that we just had, sit that we just had. And the question is, I felt like my foot was falling asleep, and I wasn't sure if it was okay for me to change my position to allow my circulation to flow more properly again, because the reading that you read before starting the meditation said there, like, placed emphasis on the importance of keeping in the same posture. So this person wants to know, and I hope you did move, by the way. I hope that you did. Oh, good. So the question is, how important, I guess, is it that we maintain the same posture? Well, I think that you're going to find that there's going to be occasions where, excuse me, you feel like you just can't sit still. As soon as you get comfortable, you'll have an itch, right? Like your nose will itch, or you'll feel like there's this hair that's in your face, and things like that are going to come up. Or maybe all of a sudden you'll really have to go to the bathroom. These things happen. My recommendation would be to sit with it for a few moments, as long as you can tolerate it. And then when it feels right for you, change your posture, scratch that itch, or get up and go to the bathroom. The reason I invite you to sit with whatever sensation you're experiencing just for a few moments, doesn't have to be long. If all you can tolerate is 20 seconds, that's fine. But there is something to the practice of being with something uncomfortable that helps us expand like a rubber band, like stretch our resiliency, become more resilient to unpleasantness. And that's important because life has unpleasantness to it. None of us escape unpleasantness. So if we can consciously build that resilience, the resiliency, and be able to stretch and expand ourselves to push ourselves to experience that which we find uncomfortable, even if it's for a short time, then before we switch over to the attitude of, okay, now I'm going to do something about it. We just want to sit with that attitude of, I'm going to bear witness to this unpleasant experience, and just sit with that for a few moments before making the shift to, now I'm going to do something to change my experience. Does that answer feel complete for you? Thank you. Well, I want to thank everyone for being here with me and joining me for this first of 6 sessions on the introduction to mindfulness. If you have questions that weren't addressed today, please feel free to send me or put it in the comments section. Reach out to me personally if you know how to do that, and if you don't, you can put that in a comment and I can reach out to you so that you have that information. And I invite you to practice each day until we meet again next week. And 45 minutes may seem like a very long time. It's probably easier to do in this group session than on your own. So I invite you to practice for 10 to 15 minutes each day. That I hope will feel manageable for you. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. In the meantime, have many, many wonderful moments and enjoy your practice. Namaste.